Hi, welcome to this week's With Liberty and Justice for Some. I'm Congressman Mark Pocan. With us today for one question is a human rights attorney, author, content creator, podcaster. We just did a podcast, Let's Address This, with Kasim Rashid. So glad to have Kasim Rashid with us today. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Congressman, a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Sure, thank you. So the one question I have for you is, if you had the ability to change any one federal law, rule, whatever, without having to go through Mike Johnson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and everybody else, just you could make the change. What would that
Yeah.
change be, and why would you make that to be the single change you could do?
God, there's so many important policies. You can talk about healthcare, climate, immigration, foreign policy. There's so much. To me, fundamentally, I don't think you can get anywhere unless you have economic justice in this country. And so the policy that I would change is I would enact a tax policy that abolishes billionaires and pegs the living wage to the minimum wage to an actual living wage. So somewhere around 25 to 30 bucks an hour right now. To ensure that every person in this country has the financial means to provide for the food, shelter, water, healthcare, education, clothing that they need. Because every single study shows that when any society is economically sound with a strong working class base, then they become more innovative, crime goes down, people live longer, they live healthier, and everything else becomes possible. But when people are struggling, like we are in this country right now, where 62% are living paycheck to paycheck, 1 in 6 are food insecure, 80% can't afford a $500 emergency, then it allows politicians to use culture wars to divide and distract and create fear. Crime goes up. It's a bad situation. So if I could wave a magic wand, I would pass a tax policy that we had between 1940 and 1980, where there was a 94% marginal tax rate for the super wealthy, where a single income home could provide for an entire home. Because I think that is a path towards racial, gender, and overall justice in this country.
You just don't want the crumbs from Elon Musk and Donald Trump? I appreciate it. It's a great answer. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Congressman.
When Donald Trump got elected, he promised to lower the cost of goods for Americans on day one. Many, many days later, people are still paying more for everyday goods, in some cases due to his tariffs, in some cases due to his inaction, and in some cases due to the issues of monopolies in many industries. Today, we'll be taking a closer look at the third issue, exploring why competition benefits consumers and how monopolization harms us all. I've seen firsthand how we pay more when there are fewer companies competing against each other. It makes sense. If you don't have to offer fair pricing to remain competitive, you can charge as much as you can get away with, especially if a few other competitors think like you do. They win, we lose. Some of these companies are enormously powerful due to their monopoly position, and they can take advantage of weak or compliant political leadership. We've seen it in the energy sector, in defense, in groceries, in tech, and in many other areas we'll discuss today. And with us to discuss this is Barry Lynn, the executive director of the Open Markets Institute, an independent organization that uses research and journalism to expose the dangers of monopoly. Barry Lynn has spent the last 2 decades fighting the negative effects of monopolies. He's a frequent news commentator and has written 3 books on these subjects. And we are very fortunate to be joined today by Barry Lynn. Welcome, Barry. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. Well, hey, let's start out. Explain what the Open Markets Institute is and why you're there and why it's important.
So the Open Markets Institute, our mission is actually to promote a more perfect democracy, to protect fundamental human liberties, and to protect the well-being of every American, both as a consumer within the political economy and as a creator, a worker. People who you have to go out and earn your living somehow, some way. But there's and we want to make sure that you can do so while keeping full control over your life and the destiny of you and your family. And I got here. I was a journalist for many years, and I was a journalist overseas. I worked in South America and among other places. And I was a journalist covering business for many years. And I came to sort of see that something really bad was happening in our political economy,
Mhm.
somewhat earlier than most people. So I switched over to trying to advocate for dealing with this dangerous concentration of power.
Yeah, and it's about monopolies largely, right? What is a monopoly, just so people can understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, so monopoly. It's like people think, oh, monopoly, you have to control everything, right? And it's like actually the technical term for the technical definition of monopoly is that you have sufficient power in the marketplace to shape the terms in which deals are done in the marketplace. So sometimes maybe that might require 100% control, but that's pretty rare. You can usually shape the terms of business for everybody if you control 50%,
Mhm.
if you control 30%. So the key thing is that a monopolist has sufficient power to sort of unfairly shape what other people are doing in their own lives as individuals or as businesses.
And why is it bad if you have someone who's got 30 or 50% market share and they're able to kind of make all the decisions? I know it's probably obvious, but why is that bad for consumers?
Oh no, it's really it's if well it's not obvious, and that's actually the key thing because the folks like we used to understand this, and then people came along and said, you know what, um, monopoly is actually more efficient. It's going to be better for you, and that was not true. So
Right.
that's how we got into this problem, and we might be able to touch on that issue a little bit further down. But the fact is, so it's not that obvious for folks. But if you can control a marketplace, it means that you can actually arrange for pricing to work for your company, for you.
Mhm.
So that means that you earn more and other people have to pay more. You get to pocket more money, and people have to reach it. Other people have to reach into their pocket and spill out more money, which goes into towards you. It also means that you might be able to cut the quality of the goods that you're making,
Mhm.
cut the quality of the services, to impose to impose controls on other people in ways that are bad for their business, bad for their pocketbook, or bad for their life. Bad for the quality of their ability to do what they want to do, but also bad for their ability to protect their children and protect their cousins and brothers and communities, from concentrated power. So once
Mhm.
you have power, you're going to use power. And if you use power against people who are powerless, that's unfair, but it's also bad. It's bad for your political well-being, and it's bad for your pocketbook.
Yeah. Yeah. At the turn of the last century, was Wisconsin's Fighting Bob La Follette, who took on the railroad barons, right? And but was at the forefront of much of this debate that we still have today about monopolies.
Yeah. No, Bob La Follette was a one of the great heroes. We don't study enough what Bob La Follette did. We look back
Mhm.
110 years and we say, "Oh, Teddy Roosevelt was a great hero." Actually, Bob La Follette was a great hero, and
Yep.
Bob La Follette was such a hero that he fought with one of the most popular presidents in American history, Teddy Roosevelt,
Mhm.
because he was a much better anti-monopolist than Teddy Roosevelt was. So,
Yeah. No, if you could see my office, you can maybe see a little over my shoulder. I've got an old Fighting Bob La Follette poster from when he ran for president in 1924, and I've got my room is sort of a shrine to Fighting Bob La Follette. So, many things that he did in an era that he was definitely at the forefront. How about the Trump administration? I mean, how have they been so far on antitrust actions?
initially it looked like they might be okay. It's like
Okay.
the Biden administration was very good. The Biden administration was actually quite revolutionary on these issues.
Mhm.
And to be clear, the Biden administration was building on work that Congress had done. The Democrats in Congress have really cracked open this issue. Back in 2017, 2018, 2019, other members of the Progressive Caucus, Congressman Cicilline, you guys cracked open this issue, held the hearings, put the information on the table, and then once President Biden was in power, his team was able to build on work that Congress had done, that you and your colleagues had done. Really fundamentally important work, and then. President Biden really revolutionized anti-monopoly enforcement. He reversed intentionally, overtly. He reversed the neoliberal approach to competition policies, to anti-monopoly. And he actually said in 2021, he said, "We are done with consumer welfare. We are done with the Robert Bork approach." And he said it was wrong. It was a failed experiment. I mean, you could not be more explicit. So whatever it's like President Biden, people have complicated feelings about him. On this issue, he was a hero. When Trump came in, he hired some good people, looked like he was going to follow this pathway, said he was going to follow this pathway. Almost every single action he and his team have taken thus far have been in the opposite direction. They're working to help monopoly. They're working to make monopolies more powerful. They're working to help monopolies get into your pocket, to steal from you, to force you to buy what they want you to buy it in the terms that they want you to buy it, to buy it at the price that they want you to buy it. And they're also, the Trump administration is in bed with the biggest of the oligarchs, pushing the worst behaviors of big tech on you and your family. That's what they're doing. They're working with big tech to make the world worse for you and your family, worse, for your children. So it looked good for about a month, and now it looks like a complete disaster. And the Trump administration, it's like as far as we can tell, it looks like a complete snooker. And it's maybe something good will happen here and there around the edges, but that is not because of the main thrust of the Trump administration.
Quite a bit different from appointing Lena Khan to be the director of the FTC, huh?
Quite a bit different. Could not be more opposite.
Is there any hope within the people that Donald Trump put in? Are there any issues you think that they may be better on than others?
We have some hope. We have some, the Trump administration, the first Trump administration started two very important antitrust cases. And this was the search case against Google.
Okay.
And in the FTC case against Meta. And so thus far, the Trump FTC is continuing to pursue the case against Facebook, Meta. And then the Trump administration continues, the DOJ, the Department of Justice, continues to be pursuing both of the two cases against Google, the one that they launched in 2020, which is the search case, and the EdTech case. Now, the search case, as we know, most of us know, didn't turn out well. The remedies portion of the case, even though Google was found to be the judge found Google to be a monopolist, an illegal monopolist. He then said, well, actually, you might have broken the law, but hey, it'll hurt you if I actually try to punish you for that. So I'm not going to punish you. So we'll see if the Trump administration appeals that. We hope that they will. But they continue to pursue the AdTech case, which is going to be heating up in the next few weeks. And then, so that's the one area where there's continues to be some hope. But other than that, even when they seem to try to do the right thing, they don't seem to be able to deliver.
And then we just had, of course, the big tech White House event where they all followed after each other saying how great the economy is because of Donald Trump. And, to the point of the hot mic moment, making up numbers and everything else about how good the economy is going to be. It's a little scary when those folks have that influence.
Oh yeah, no, I mean these people. What they have now goes way beyond influence. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like when you look at when you look at the people who run Google, Facebook, Amazon, you're looking at the people who run our economy, the people who run our lives increasingly.
Yeah.
And now when I say that, it's not, this is not our destiny, but we just have to recognize where we are today so that we can begin the process of fixing it. So we have an awesome ability to solve the problem. But we have to see the problem, recognize the problem, speak the problem before we can go and solve the problem.
Sure. Well, let's talk antitrust a little bit and break it down by sectors, just so, because some people might be more interested in some than others. The first one that I've been especially interested in has been the lack of competition with defense contractors. Yeah, we've seen from 15 companies giving a bid to one or two giving a bid. And obviously that kind of monopolization, knowing what we already pay for items from defense contractors, obscene amounts. How has that consolidation affected both what we pay for things, but also, potentially our national security?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is something we've been following open markets for a long time. It's really important for people in Wisconsin also. I mean, it's like lots of defense work being done in Wisconsin, the shipbuilding. I mean, here the problem, it was created. Yes, we used to have, like, say, to make any kind of weapon system, we used to have, 5 or 6 or 7 different corporations that would make that weapon system. So when the Department of Defense went out to market to buy buy a fighter jet or buy a tank, you could compete that contract out, and you could get 6 or 7 corporations trying really hard, sometimes more, trying really hard to win that contract. And now when you get down to 1 or 2, they don't compete. In fact, they don't even really try. They just tell the government what it is that they want.
Yeah.
Here's the money. Here's how much money we want. Here's the terms that we're going to deliver this on. And the government really has no ability to talk back. It's just, you can make a lot of noise. You can say, oh, I'm going to do this, but it's like they control. Monopolies control. So it means vastly higher prices for weapon systems. And much slower production, which puts us all at risk. And we've just seen this with the war in the Ukraine with the production of munitions. It's not just initially it was artillery shells, but then later it was missiles. And somebody's like, oh, we need to surge the production of artillery shells. We need to surge the production of missiles. We need a lot of these, not just show missiles. We need to be using missiles. And then the producers of the missiles, they're like, or the artillery shells, they say, hey, you know what? We'll get to it when we get to it. So it's like, when that's the kind of control that your arms producers have over the government, that puts every American at risk. And I'll be clear, it's like the Trump administration made a lot of noise about trying to fix this. And thus far, they've only made it worse.
Well, and there's a little quality control too, right? I mean, F-35s, I think they have something like 800 known issues. In 1 year recently, I think they only fixed 4 of them or something, because they don't have to. There's no competition.
There's no competition. And this is, there's a huge shortage of naval ships right now. I mean, we're saying China is producing, a new naval ship a week. And the United States produces maybe 3 per year. And it's our naval fleet is aging and it is shrinking. and the construction capacity in the United States is simply not big enough to replace, let alone build. And President Trump made a lot of noise about trying to fix that. His team made a lot of noise about trying to fix that. And actually, we have Arnav Rao, who's a member of our team, has an article coming out just this week in the Washington Monthly that details how the Trump administration, even while intending to increase ship production capacity in the United States, has achieved the exact opposite.
Wow.
And it's like they've only been in power for eight months, and they made a statement, we're going to make it better, and in 8 months they made it much worse.
Wow.
So, and it wasn't even intentional.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they break is intentional. This was not intentional. So,
yeah. How about the energy sector? Yeah, I remember there was a case where, forgetting which oil company was buying a smaller oil company, and it was a guy who had been caught essentially price fixing with OPEC. What are some of the issues in the energy sector around monopoly that are affecting us?
Yeah, it's well, probably, there's right now, because demand for oil has gone down, we don't really see it, right? You tend to focus on the monopoly and say in petrochemicals and petroleum when prices are high, and right now they're not as high as they've been. So, but it's like the next time there is a shortage, the fact that we've seen a number of mergers, and we're likely to see more mergers under the Trump administration. The next time there's a shortage, it means prices go up faster, and they go up higher, because but some monopolists don't. A lot of monopolists don't get to price all the time. It's just they just wait around until there's an opportunity, especially in commodities. They wait around for an opportunity. Once every 4, 5, 6 years, they make the money rain. It's just it is just a fantastic payday. So you can make so much money once every 4, 5, 6 years that it's like a 20-year it's a 20-year jackpot. So it's so that's the way it is in hydrocarbons and oil and gas. It's like you have this tighter and tighter grip, which pays off once in a while, pays off big. But the thing that's really been sort of most damaging is just the way that the hydrocarbon corporations have used their power over the government to destroy alternatives, to destroy solar and wind. I mean, the Trump administration has pretty much destroyed wind installation in the United States because they have permitting ability. So they just said, no, nothing's happening. And then when it comes to solar, I mean, they pretty much entirely reversed the IRA, the giant bill that was so important a couple of years ago that Congress passed under President Biden to promote the construction of cleaner cars, better cars, more efficient cars, but also better solar panels to actually onshore a lot of this capacity to so that we are not dependent on the Chinese for these technologies. And because the hydrocarbon corporations are so powerful, they have so much power over Trump, and also the countries like Saudi Arabia, they have so much power over the Trump administration. They got Trump to destroy all of this. Even Elon Musk, who is really one of the, as people now understand, is one of the most dangerous people in the world. This is an area where he tried to use his influence. Don't destroy EVs. Don't destroy photovoltaics. It doesn't make sense. And no one listened to him. That's how much power the hydrocarbon monopolists have. So they managed to destroy all of these technologies, all of this industry that was designed to make America stronger, more independent, to drive down costs, to make the world cleaner. It's just an abomination.
Wow. Food industry, there's a few factors. I know there was some issues around consolidation of grocery stores, which is obviously very important for the end price consumers are going to pay, but also big ag and farming. Consolidation of farms has been bad for the average family farmer in Wisconsin, but really good for big ag. What kind of issues in the food industry are especially worthy of mentioning?
Yeah. So that's actually an area where we did have a big win in recent years. The FTC under Chair Khan challenged this merger between two of the top four biggest grocery corporations in the United States, Kroger's and Albertsons, and they won that case and they blocked the merger. So, and that's allowing that one protects competition in many communities, but also allows for new entrants to come. So right now we see a lot of new entrants in groceries sort of moving in. So that's a really good thing. But but underneath the grocery sector, what you have is when you get to eggs, it's just dominated by a couple corporations. You get to pork or chicken or beef, it's just dominated by a couple processing corporations. If you get to grains, it's just a couple processing corporations. Milk in the United States is really quite astounding how controlled milk production is in the United States, which is a big issue in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It's why are family dairy farms in Wisconsin? Why have so many thousands of farms, so many farmer families been driven off the land? It's by monopolists.
Exactly.
So people in Wisconsin, you're surrounded by dairy land, and right now you pay much more for milk than you should, and many fewer of your neighbors are sort of producing the milk.
And the farmers aren't seeing that money.
That's right, and even when they do, the ones who are still in business, they don't see the money. So it all gets taken away by the middleman.
Yeah.
So it's a so the price, so what we see is, pricing even when pricing is not skyrocketing, it's much higher than it should be. It's like in milk right now. Is there a lot of inflation in milk right now? No. But is it higher than it should be in a real market? We could be paying half today for milk, what we do, if there was competition. We should be paying half for eggs in a real market. We should be paying half for bread in a real market. Our Fruit Loops should cost us half of what they do. Wow. So even without inflation, we've had this period of inflation. Right now, it's not so much inflation, but even when there's no inflation, we're still paying double or more what we should.
Much bigger factor than inflation, for sure. Yeah. We started talking early on a little bit about the Google and other cases, but big tech, we really see this in big tech. And because everyone is on big tech, everyone is affected. Can you talk about some of the biggest issues around big tech?
Yeah. So, that's a great question because it's so sprawling. I mean, now it covers everything. Big tech is everywhere. It's in it. And so, so I guess there's two ways. We've had this problem has been developing for a long time, and we have tended to look at the problem in terms of competition. It's like, we want to have more search competition, and that's true up to a point. But what we've kind of, I would say, from our own analysis, that we still haven't really dug into the most immediate threat to ourselves and our families and our communities, which is the way that big tech is designed to manipulate us. So, it's nice, it's great, it's fantastic that we won a case in court against Google's search monopoly, in which the Judge Mehta said Google's search monopoly is illegal. We won a case against Google in court that said Google's control of ad tech, of advertising, online advertising, and the technologies that are used to place that advertising online is illegal. Those are fantastic. But what we haven't done is actually so much as like say, well, what can we do to limit the ability of Google to surveil us, spy on us, spy
Yeah.
on our children, spy on our, spy on our brothers and sisters and mothers, and then either directly manipulate us, directly rip us off, which they do, or help other people manipulate us.
Sell our data.
Yeah, and it's not just Google; it's Facebook, it's X, um, it's in different ways. It's Amazon, and so big is bad. No, well, big is sometimes bad. Big is sometimes neutral. It's like if you have the right regulations, big can be made neutral.
Yeah.
And what we, what we've done a bad job of is actually focusing on ensuring that things that are big don't manipulate us, that they're not neutral. They favor this person over this person. They favor this company over this company. That's wrong. That's politically dangerous. That is a threat to our democracy. It's a threat to our liberty. And now, and this is the second thing. So that's the where we've been. But going forward, it's getting worse incredibly rapidly because of AI.
Yes.
So AI is making it worse in two main ways. One, there's three corporations dominate AI in the world today. Google, Amazon, AWS, and Microsoft. Now, there's a couple other players around the edge. Facebook is trying to get big into AI, but those three dominate.
Okay.
They control 75% plus of the of the AI stack in the United States, and so they are using the advent of AI to get yet more powerful vis-a-vis every other tech company in the world, vis-a-vis every other company in the world, vis-a-vis every person in the world. Right. So those three corporations are getting more powerful, again, vis-a-vis everyone else every day because of AI. Second, AI, every single problem of manipulation that has existed, that has been created because of the bad business models that we have allowed these corporations to build, they're using AI to make that worse. They're using it to manipulate us more effectively, to rip us off more effectively, to surveil us more effectively, to gather all the information up into a picture of who we are and what we do, to get us addicted to gambling and to gaming and to just staring at whatever crazy stuff is someone's coming up with. AI, everything that as bad as life online has become for many people, it's going to become vastly worse. It is becoming vastly worse right now because of the advent of AI.
Any other sectors that I haven't mentioned that you see some really big looming issues you're concerned about?
I mean, I guess the key thing for people to understand is that this is not isolated to one or two places.
Right.
It's every place. It's systemic. It's the basic rules of the political economy used to be anti-monopoly. So that's what historically people should understand. This is not normal. This is abnormal.
Yeah.
Going back, we were talking about fighting Bob off all that, but it's like go back to the beginning of the country. We created this country to break the power of monopoly, the power of the king, and the power of the corporation. That's what and the power of the church. Those are the three monopolies that we aimed at when we created the United States. And when it comes to commercial monopoly, for 200 years in this country, we did a fantastic job, with one exception for about 15, 20 years during the Gilded Age. The rest of the time in the United States, we prevented corporations from controlling us.
Yeah. So
this is not normal. What we have today is something that is outside the realm of normal. It is abnormal. But that also, the other thing that helps us understand is that this is all fixable. This is all fixable. And it's like, we started that job of fixing it with Congress, you and your colleagues back in 2018, 2019, 2020. And then the Biden administration really took that to a new level for 4 years, 3.5 years. So it's, and then it's all been put on hold, and that's
Yeah.
made worse. So we identified the problem. We set out to fix the problem. Members of Congress just using their ability to sort of research and understand, sort of really teed this up, and made the world a better place for people.
Mhm.
Made the world a better place. We are fighting to make prices for your food cheaper. We're fighting to make these corporations treat you better, to not manipulate you, and we showed how we can do it.
Yeah.
And we showed we can win.
And what are some of those things that can let us win? I mean, what are some of the things that get us out of this period where monopolies have too much power?
It's like, so right now it's like, when we started this, I remember one of you and I getting together like in 2016 to discuss some of these issues. And back then we was like, well, what's the big thing we have to do? Oh, we have to wake people up to the ideology that is being used to promote monopoly, which is the consumer welfare ideology, or the Chicago school ideology. And it basically was this, that efficiency is better,
Mhm.
and that markets are self-regulating. That's, and so those are two great lies, but they created an ideology based on two lies, and they sold it to people for long enough with enough money behind it that we believed it. So now the good news is that, 8 years later, we look around and it's like, no one really believes that anymore, except for maybe Ezra Klein. But it's, but with the exception of some of the people in the abundance movement, no one believes that anymore.
Yeah.
Certainly, there's not a single Republican. Nobody believes laissez-faire in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
But there's a few Democrats around the edges that believe in this, so that's a major advance. But so now, what we have to do to finish this is actually just not be afraid.
Yeah. Take
We
these
beat
companies
the
on, take
oligarchs.
these industries on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beat them.
Yeah.
And now that, what, we lost, and it's unleashed a devastating series of attacks.
Mhm.
Our loss allowed them to unleash a devastating series of attacks on us.
Yeah.
But, and that has made us, it's sort of battered us to a point where it's difficult for us to, we find it hard to get our footing. But as soon as we get our footing, as soon as we start to fight again, as soon as we start to move forward again, we win again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, we don't have to actually wake ourselves up from some intellectual lie.
Mhm.
We just have to actually stand ourselves up and start marching.
Yeah. Because we've lost on things like click to cancel. They're working against us on non-compete and all this other stuff too that we made progress on, in addition to monopolies. So, well, thank you so much for helping to talk about this. I think, this is the way, like you said, we win, is to start talking about it, start fighting for it. And, when you told me that number on how much more we pay for groceries, largely because of this rather than inflation, that should be the wake up call for anyone who's been concerned about paying for things. Barry, how do people follow you and your organization on social media if they want to learn more and interact more?
So we're just at openmarketsinstitute.org, but we have a couple of great publications. We have one called The Corner, which sort of tracks what you can just sign up for it easily on our website. Mm-hmm. We have another one called Liberty and Power, which we just launched, and then obviously on social media people can follow us, but we publish a lot. We publish all over the place. We have a fantastic team of people who not only are experts, but they actually know how to write. So
yeah, well, using journalists and researchers to fight back, I like this. You guys do great work at the Open Markets Institute. And Barry, thank you so much for being with us today.
No, thank you. And again, it's like so much of what we have accomplished was due to what you started. So,
well, thank you so much.